Beyond the Founder Summit, I am excited to introduce our next speaker. Maria Medina is a certified professional coach with over 15 years of experience in marketing, business strategy, and networking, specializing in ADHD business coaching. A former competitive soccer player, she developed strong discipline, resilience, and team oriented leadership early on. She worked her way up within a corporate organization in just 6 years before becoming an entrepreneur, successfully growing and selling her first business. She is the founder of the Coaching Network based in Orange County, California, where she provides coaching, workshops, and consulting for small business owners, solopreneurs, and small teams. Her work focuses on networking, sales, time management, personal branding, and building practical systems that support consistent growth. She specializes in helping busy entrepreneurs, including those navigating ADHD, create clarity, stay focused, strengthen referral based relationships, and achieve better balance between their business and personal responsibilities. Her approach combines strategy, structure, and relationship building to help small business owners grow sustainably and achieve meaningful long term results. Let's welcome Maria Medina.
Thank you so much, Jesper. Thank you so much for having me here today. Really excited to share some content with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Productivity for ADHD brains. Thank you so much, Jesper, for that thumbs up. As mentioned, my name is Maria Medina, and I am a coach and business coach with an ADHD specialty. And I like to share a little bit about myself before we get started. Jesper did share some of my story. As he mentioned, I played soccer professionally in the UK, but I have lived all over the world. I'm originally from Colombia. I've lived in Egypt, Spain, the UK, Florida, and now I'm based out of California. I've been here for about 2 years. I like to share about me because it gives you a little bit about my background, all the experiences that I have had that I bring into my coaching practice. And the reason why I started coaching was because I was running another business. I saw great potential there by managing my ADHD as well as growing through networking, and I decided to launch a company for it, as all of us entrepreneurs do. So I like to start with a little quote, which is today's workshop is brought to you by anyone who's ever said, "If I don't do it right now, I'll forget forever." Which, who said that quote? I'm sure a lot of people that are in this meeting right now have said that, right? So who here relates to that? Who here understands that quote and they think, okay, yeah, that's I have to do that. That's something I have to share in the chat if that's something that you have experienced. But I'll share a little bit about what we're going to be working on today, which is what you can expect from this presentation. And it's going to be a little bit of a working session. So it's not really a presentation, it's more of a working session. You're going to understand how ADHD affects productivity. You're also going to understand learn systems that support executive functioning and test strategies that you can implement immediately. So let me go ahead and just pull up the chat so that I can have it on my left side in case anybody has any questions or anything that comes up. I have that available. But let's get started. Let's get started with some deep work on what is executive function, which is what a lot of ADHD people struggle with. So executive functions are what we like to call as the brain's management systems, and they help us plan, prioritize, start tasks, stay focused, regulate emotions, and complete tasks. With my ADHD practice, what I do is I try and work by Dr. Thomas Brown's model. He has defined 6 executive function clusters most commonly impacted by ADHD. So those are activation, focus, effort, emotion, memory, and action. If you were to look at those 6, and I'm going to highlight them here in the next slide so that you can see them a little bit better, what each of those mean, right? So if you were to look at activation, so organizing, prioritizing, and getting started on work, focusing and shifting attention between tasks, regulation, so alertness, sustaining effort, and processing speed with that effort, emotion, memory, and action. If you were to look at those 6, if you could share in the chat, which one do you think you struggle with the most? Which one is the one that you feel, okay, I wish I could work on that a little bit more and that needs some of my attention? Go ahead and put either activation, focus, effort, emotion, memory, or action in the chat and let me know what you think. We're going to focus on activation today because that's what I see a lot with ADHDers. Jasper memory. Yeah, that's right. Going into a room and trying to remember why I walked in there, right? So today we're going to focus on that activation pattern because a lot of us do struggle in getting started, in particular with bigger tasks. And if you have read Eat That Frog, we struggle with those big tasks, those hard to swallow tasks. And I recommend that book. I read it all the time and I highly recommend it. It's those tasks that every time that we think about doing them, we automatically go, oh, I can't believe I have to do that. I have to sit down, hunker down, and do those things. So when it comes to activation, I'll share some of the common struggles that people with ADHD have. Right. So the common struggles with activation, which activation is about organizing, prioritizing, and getting started with work. So the starting problem is procrastination, overwhelm, not knowing where to begin, right? You know what you have to achieve, but you don't even know where to start. And then you have this ongoing to-do list, this huge list of things to do, or these tasks that you have to complete, but then you have difficult prioritizing. And often what you find yourself is you find yourself doing the easy or the fun things. If you can relate to that, go ahead and type yes in the chat, right? You're just doing the things, keeping yourself busy. I'm just going to do this because I know it's going to take me 5 minutes rather than focusing on that 1 hour or 2 hour long task. Some of the struggles that appear here in ADHD are actual common problems that other individuals have. So it's not just if you have ADHD. A lot of entrepreneurs and creatives actually struggle with this because we get stuck on doing the fun things, the things that we want to do. And then ultimately we have to cram those things that we have to do at the end of the week, the end of the month, and we're rushing to get those completed. So I'm going to share a few activation strategies. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do an activity. But how many of you have really long to-do lists that you do and you're completing, but you feel like you're not getting anywhere, right? If you do, go ahead and share yes in that chat. And we're going to share some strategies that will help you with that. So here are a couple activation strategies that I'd like you to look at, a few helpful systems. The 3-task rule. The 3-task rule states that you either set your month, your week, or your day by saying, these are the 3 things that I have to accomplish today. So long as I accomplish these 3, these other 10, 20, however long your to-do list is, they're okay if I don't finish them, right? So it's your to-do list, but you grab those 3-task rule and you grab them and you say, these are the 3 things that are going to get me closest to my goal today. Then the other one is the 5-minute rule. We don't want to do something. We sit down and we realize, okay, I have to do this, but I really don't want to do this. So I'm going to procrastinate, do other things. Instead of doing that and procrastinating, say, you know what, this thing that I don't want to do, I'm just going to do it for 5 minutes. And 2 things are going to happen there. One, either you're going to sit and you're going to do it for 5 minutes and you're going, okay, I did it for 5 minutes. At least I got started. Or you're going to sit for 5 minutes and you're going to say, okay, I've done 5 minutes. That wasn't so bad. Let me just keep going. Let me just finish. And it just depends on the task. But as you start practicing that 5-minute rule, you can start doing it on a daily basis and you'll start slowly moving towards your goal rather than just procrastinating and not doing it at all. Another aspect which I often tell my clients to use, and it's difficult for you to see because you think of tasks as one activity when ultimately it's multiple activities. And I'll share an example in a little bit. But what you want to do is you want to break down a task, which is a big task, into ridiculously small steps. That includes opening my, changing the name of the document, linking the video, every single step that you have to do in order to complete the task that you're looking to complete, break it down meticulously into small steps. What that does is it allows you to estimate a little bit more the time better of what it's going to take to complete that task. So you're going to get a little bit better at saying, okay, actually, this thing that I thought was going to take an hour is only 10 steps. It's probably going to take me 20, 30 minutes. So yeah, I might as well do it. Or it might be something that we're really bad at sometimes, that we underestimate how long something's going to take. And that's why we get frustrated. And we're like, oh, why couldn't I complete that in an hour? It's like, well, it's 50 steps. Like, you're not going to complete that in 1 hour, right? So once you break it down, you start getting better at estimating time and realizing before I even start this task, there's certain things that I need access to, and there's certain things that I need to do. Do I need a response from a person? Do I need somebody to send me something? Do I need access to a resource? Let me get all of that ready before I even get started so I don't hit a bottleneck or a wall and then I become unmotivated because I have to wait when I was already engaged and I was already interacting in the activity. Who here has heard of body doubling? If you have, put yes in the chat. If you haven't, put a no in there. Body doubling, it's a great way to get productive and get some activation going. So if you know that you have a task that you want to complete, team up with a fellow other small business owner, say, hey, let's meet at a coffee shop. I really want to work on my marketing emails for the month. The moment that you sit down and you've told them that you're going to work on those marketing emails for the month, you're going to sit for 1 hour, 2 hours, however long, across from each other, and they're going to be working on whatever it is that they're going to be working. The act of them working and being productive in front of you and being that body double is actually going to help you. Oh, you know what they're doing? Let me get started and do what I said that I was going to do. And that psychology is going to help you get started on those tasks that you don't want to do. It actually also works virtually. There's a lot of body doubling events out there. One great resource in particular, if you're creative, is called Shut Up and Write. They have virtual and in-person productivity writing events where you go and you sit, but you don't have to work on like a book or something like that. You can work on a blog, you can work on marketing, you can work on your website. Sit down, you just shut up and write, right? You just sit down and write around other people. You tell them what you're going to achieve that day, and then you do it around each other. The other aspect is starting times. We have a deadline, but we don't set a time for when we're going to start the task. We don't say, okay, for this task that I have to complete by Friday, I'm actually going to start on Monday, or I'm going to start on Wednesday at this time on this date. We always say we have that deadline, but if we don't set a clear start time, what we're going to end up doing is pushing it until the very last minute, and then we're going to rush and stress and give ourselves anxiety when we're completing it. So the 3-task rule, use those 3 things that you're going to complete today. The 5-minute start rule, I'm just going to work on this for 5 minutes. Break down those tasks into meticulous steps as much as you can so that you can really clearly see how much time something's going to take you. Use a buddy, whether it's virtual or in person, to help you achieve things by body doubling. And remember to schedule starting times, not just ending deadlines for the activities that you have to complete. So what I want you to share right now is a task that you've been avoiding. You can share in the chat or you can just write it down. And what I want you to do is just below that task, and later what I'll do is I'll go ahead and share a goal worksheet that you can use for this if you have other goals that you want to achieve. But right now, let's keep it really simple. And you're gonna write down one task you've been avoiding that you know that you have to do, you should do for you or your business. And I want you to just write down the first 3 steps. You know, when I said break it down as much as possible, let's say it's me, I'm sending a proposal to somebody. So what are the first things that I have to do? 1, I have to open my template document. So I have to have that open. That's the first step in order for me to do that, right? I skip the sitting down because I'm already in my office. I'm already sat down. I have to open that document. I have to know the differences between this and the template document. So what is the outline? What is the requirement for this proposal that I'm writing? What makes it different from all my other templated documents that I'm doing, my other templated proposals? So I need to know that. So is it a client email that I need to go look for? So even I could even break that down further. I have to go access the email from the client that tells me the breakdown, or maybe my notes from the meeting that I had with them, right? And then the first thing I have to do is I have to write or edit that first paragraph. So those are my first 3 steps. Those are the only 3 things that I would have to do to get started, which could potentially be my 5-minute rule. I just have to do steps 1, 2, and 3, get started. And what's probably going to happen the moment that you start those 3 steps is you're going to say, okay, might as well, I've already started. Let me keep going, right? Let me continue with this. The more that you break down the task, the more achievable it'll seem. But what you also want to do is you want to assign it to a goal. What is the goal of sending this proposal? Getting a new client. Do I want to get a new client? Yes. What often happens here as well with my ADHDers is we have a little bit of a fear of rejection. We don't want to hear that no. So the more we delay sending that proposal, the less likely we're going to hear back a no. But it's better to hear a no and then get some feedback and understand why you got the no. And you realize it's not because I sent the proposal late, right? Because I got the proposal there on time when I told them that I was going to do it. I didn't break the trust. So I said, I'm going to send it to you by tomorrow. And I did. So it's not, they didn't say no because of that. But let's understand why so that we can be more targeted in our next proposal, so that we can understand if we're meeting the right type of people and sending the proposal to the right people. So like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and share in the chat. It's just a goal worksheet that you can use. And this allows you to break down your tasks into more simple tasks, right? So let me grab that link from my website so that you guys have access to it. And in the meantime, I'm just going to share the key takeaways right here so that you guys can reminisce on a little bit of what we've learned today, because ADHD and productivity, it's not really about trying harder, but it's about building better systems, creating external supports to help you, whether it's that body doubling or just organizing your workspace and understanding how your brain works. So your brain isn't broken. It works a little bit different. We just need to find the tools that will help you. And that's the goal planner right there in the chat. So I'd like to understand from you guys a little bit about, what are you going to do this week? How are you going to improve your activation this week? Are you going to build better systems? What of the activities that I shared right here, these strategies, which one do you think is going to help you the most? I'd love to see it in the chat. Is it the 3-task rule, that 5-minute rule, breaking it down, body doubling with somebody, another fellow entrepreneur, or scheduling those start times so that you know exactly when you're going to get started? And at this time, Jesper, I'd love to open it up to any questions that anybody might have. And they can go ahead and schedule that 30-minute free consultation. Let me get that up on for you guys right there.
Thank you, Maria. So I do have a couple of questions, but before I do, I'll turn it over to the audience to see if there are any questions that they want to ask. All right, so I'll throw out the first question. Maria, curious to learn more about your story. What gave you the inspiration to become a certified professional coach?
Yeah, it's so, as I mentioned, I did own another business before I became a coach. And what happened when I was growing that business was people saw how quickly I was progressing and how quickly I was growing my network and interacting with people. So that's sort of how it started, the networking portion. And that's why it's called the coaching network. People saw how I grew that business through networking by not knowing anybody, because I moved to South Florida in 2014, not knowing anybody. And by 2017, I had my shop fully profitable, manager run and operated, and I was able to step away, and people asked me to teach them. So I taught workshops. That's how I started. And finally, they wore me down. And 5 years later, they said, can you do it one-on-one, please? Like, just focus on me, focus on my business. And I got certified. I took some certifications, not only to become a coach, but also to understand how to coach. And then I launched a coaching network.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing your story. And you brought up Dr. Thomas Brown's model of executive function. Just looking at the research, how did you stumble upon it?
Yeah, my ADHD coaching certification. So as I started experiencing more clients that had ADHD or ADHD tendencies, I decided to get certified so that I could understand how their brain worked to be able to help them better. And I am a firm believer of continual development. I was just actually at an HR talk this morning learning about benefits and health insurance in the workplace. And I love learning so that I can help my clients better. And that's how I came across the model.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. And Maria, before we go, what is your final piece of wisdom for our audience?
As I know that a lot of you guys are solopreneurs, often we forget to take care of ourselves until our body forces us to. So take the time to step back and take care of yourself. You're your most valuable resource to your business. Without you, there would be no business most of the time. So make sure that you're taking yourself, taking that time off, taking care of your health, and making sure that you're remaining to the best of your abilities, the best of you, so that you can run your business successfully.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for sharing your insights and takeaways today. Very valuable. Excited and honored that you could join us today. For everyone out there, let's give another round of applause to Maria Medina.